Tarre Vizsla, creator of the Darksaber, Mandalorian, and Jedi. How is this possible? After all, not only were these two groups historically enemies, but their philosophies diametrically oppose one another. The Jedi use combat only as a last resort to protect or defend, while Mandalorians view combat as a way of life. To be both would be like a shark that abstains from eating fish.
Hello?
In fact, this is why so few Mandalorians have ever been accepted into the Jedi Order. The Jedi generally avoid recruiting beings that come from species or societies that are aggressive. Furthermore, Jedi also like to recruit infants due to their limited attachments. However, as you will soon see, Tarre Vizsla was an exception to both of these codes.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
This is the story of Tarre Vizsla, the man who crafted the Darksaber, the Mandalorian Jedi, the Anomaly. In canon, not much is known about Tarre Vizsla other than he was both Mandalorian and Jedi. He created the infamous Darksaber, which would come to symbolize leadership within Mandalorian society, and he ruled Mandalore. That's it. That's essentially all we know about the man. In Legends, however, we know quite a bit more. Tarre Vizsla was born to Mandalorian clan Vizsla in 1100 BBY, just prior to the Republic Dark Age. This was a time of widespread war between the Republic and the Sith. He would live the vast majority of his life engulfed in this strife. Not only was there war, but there was also later disease. The Kandorian plague, caused by the Blue Shadow virus, spread rampantly through the galaxy, decimating billions upon billions of lives. It's not hard to see that this time period was representative of the Dark Ages of Europe within our own history, with the war with the Sith symbolizing the Crusades and the Kandorian plague standing in for the bubonic plague. Due to the combative state of the galaxy Tarre was raised in, it came as no surprise that he became a mercenary once he reached adulthood. He took contracts for both Jedi and Sith, and was known especially for his skill with a blade known as a Beskad. Forged from Beskar, the blade was capable of combating weapons as powerful as lightsabers. In addition to his deadly skill with the Beskad, Tarre displayed uncanny reflexes and foresight in battle.
He can see things before they happen. That's why he appears to have such quick reflexes.
Eventually, through his unique abilities, Tarre caught the eye of the Jedi Order. Though he was well into adulthood by this time, the Jedi Order was not at all in a good place. They had lost thousands of Jedi in the war and desperately needed replacements. They would take whatever they could get, no matter the potential recruit's age. And so, Tarre was extended an offer to give up his life as a mercenary and instead join the weakened Jedi Order. Tarre accepted the offer and began training in the ways of the Jedi. He took to lightsaber combat like a moth to flame, already possessing comparable experience with his Beskad. Mastering command of the Force, though, was a bit more challenging for Tarre, who had very little experience in this regard prior to becoming a Jedi. After an extended period of Jedi apprenticeship, Tarre was at last granted the rank of Jedi Knight. He was without a doubt one of the brightest Jedi Knights, largely due to his adeptness in combat. It was at this point that Tarre was sent out to join the war effort, battling against the Sith armies on fronts across the galaxy. While he was an exceptionally formidable warrior, Tarre was not satisfied. Something was off. Though Tarre was able to transfer his experience and skill with a Beskad to his use of a lightsaber, he was never quite fully comfortable with the standard Jedi weapon. While the lightsaber was light and easy to flick around, Tarre found this inconsistent and unpredictable. Rather, Tarre craved the solid weight of the Beskad he grew up using. So, the Mandalorian Jedi created a solution to his problem. He merged both his heritage with the ways of the Order he had adopted. He forged a weapon that made use of both the Jedi's traditional Kyber crystal and the profile and weight of a Mandalorian Beskad. To top it off, Tarre selected a black crystal to power his weapon, completing the distinguished look of the saber. And so, the Darksaber was formed. The war against the Sith had extracted a heavy toll upon the galaxy at large. Although the Jedi and Republic would eventually defeat the Sith at the end of Tar's life, it was not without great cost. The Republic deteriorated to a mere shadow of its former self. It was no longer able to maintain
peace, freedom, justice, and security
throughout the galaxy during the war. Many planets and systems were forced to protect themselves by whatever means they could, not being able to rely on the Republic for such protection. One such solution was by looking to the Jedi Order. The Jedi Order began loaning out their members to these struggling systems. These such Jedi soon became known as Jedi Lords. They acted as barons and sheriffs of the galaxy, keeping the peace over their designated systems. Though he was a Jedi, Tar's Mandalorian upbringing had never quite been expunged. He threw himself into combating pirates, criminals, and Sith throughout Mandalorian space. When Tar got word that the Sith were seeking to begin using Beskar to forge armor, he rallied the clans of Mandalore against them. He led Mandalore to a flurry of startling victories against the Sith armies, endearing himself to the people of Mandalore. This saw his legend grow, as well as establish the roots of what the Darksaber would come to symbolize within Mandalorian culture. He was so admired by his fellow Mandalorians that he was eventually successfully pressured into taking on the title of Mandalore, the warrior ruler of the planet and people of Mandalore. The Jedi Order appointed him Jedi Lord of the Mandalorian sector, and Tar soon married and had children, allowing his line to continue even after he was gone. Though Tar managed to balance ruling Mandalore with his Jedi duties, he constantly faced heavy criticism from both sides from people who felt he should make a choice. His loyalty to either side was often in doubt, mistrust that likely stemmed from the bloody history between Mandalore and the Jedi. Tar felt pressure on both sides. With the war and disease closing in rapidly, Tar was under extreme stress. In 1060 BBY, Mandalore was struck with a massive wave of the Kandorian plague. It killed millions, including Tar's own wife. It was one of the lowest points in all of Mandalorian history, and Tar held himself responsible. He felt that due to his split duties as Jedi and Mandalore, he could not adequately bring the focus and attention his people deserved in a ruler. He stepped down from his position as Mandalore and returned to the Jedi in a full-time capacity. In the decades that followed, Tar grew frustrated with the behavior and decision-making of the Jedi Council. In fact, the Jedi Order had underwent a sort of structural fragmentation itself. On one side, there was the High Council, which represented the traditional Jedi Order. On the other side, the Grand Council was formed. The Grand Council was comprised of Jedi Lords who had gained a great amount of power throughout their positions. They formed a more radical council in order to more effectively govern their territories. Naturally, these two sides of the Jedi idealistically opposed one another, though they did so peacefully and in united opposition to the Sith. Tar, though declining to join the Grand Council, had less and less love for the High Council as the years went on. He began to openly disobey the Council and outright question their decisions. When the Sith army was reorganized into the Brotherhood of Darkness by Skir Khan, a former champion of the Jedi High Council, the Grand Council formed the Army of the Light to oppose them. Tar held the High Council responsible for allowing Khan to become a Sith Lord right beneath their noses, and took his leave from the traditional Jedi Order under what was called the Right of Denial. This was a principle that allowed for a Jedi to protest the Council.
I recognize the Council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
They would be stripped of any power or status they held, and would essentially only be a Jedi in name. Tar was also made to surrender his Darksaber to the High Council. There it would remain on Coruscant until it was later stolen back by House Vizsla during a raid of the temple. Following his departure from the Jedi Order, though by now he was nearing 100 years old, Tar joined up with the Army of Light, which was led by Jedi Master Hoth. Though he was quite old, Tar was still an incredibly effective combatant and leader. He guided his division of the army to several victories against the Brotherhood of Darkness, even utilizing some Mandalorian warriors who still revered him from his time as Mandalore. He was offered the opportunity for higher ranks, but he constantly turned them down, preferring to be on the battlefield. He was a Mandalorian after all. The war against the Brotherhood of Darkness reached its climax on the planet of Ruusan. The series of battles that took place upon Ruusan were horrific, with both sides suffering heavy casualties and being pushed to their absolute limit. There seemed as if there would not be a clear winner, but then a curious thing happened. A Sith known as Darth Bane turned on his fellow brothers and sisters. He manipulated Lord Khan into attempting a most dangerous feat in the Force, the Thought Bomb. This was an attack through the Force that would utterly annihilate all life within a wide radius of its use. Thinking that he and his comrades would be unaffected by the Thought Bomb, Khan shepherded all the remaining Sith into the caves of Ruusan, and they began to pool their powers with the Force into unleashing it. General Hoth rallied his Jedi and attempted to infiltrate the cave to prevent Khan from unleashing the Thought Bomb. 100 gallant Jedi went with him, including Tarre Vizsla. Unfortunately, Khan and the Brotherhood successfully unleashed the Thought Bomb, utterly disintegrating themselves and all of the Jedi in an instant. Even worse was that all of their spirits were trapped within the resulting Force Nexus, doomed to suffer for all eternity. Here ends the tale of the greatest Mandalorian Jedi and creator of the legendary Darksaber, Tarre Vizsla. He attempted to balance two opposing ways of life, and though he didn't wholly succeed, he gained the admiration and respect of millions and cemented himself as a legend of both the Jedi and Mandalore.